These are the black community here. We are not allowing any black people to enter inside the gates. We are all here. It's only Ukrainians that they are allowing in. Even the ones with kids, they're not allowing them in. They really have been here for days and nobody's asking any questions. Only Ukrainian women and kids they are allowing in through this gate. All the places blocked and all are full of blacks from different communities, from different countries. Nobody's talking to.
Welcome to Delightful D News and Views. I'm your host, DJ. Thousands of African students are currently stranded in Ukraine after war broke out with Russia. The Africans have been blocked from escaping the conflict while Ukrainian women, children, and even dogs are allowed to flee to safety. But how can this be? Watch until the end because I'm going to explain why Africans are being treated like second-class citizens in Ukraine. Before we do that, I'm going to ask you to put a like on the video and subscribe. The first question is, why aren't Africans allowed to leave Ukraine? The official answer is that flights are grounded and options are limited, but that doesn't tell the whole story. You can also leave Ukraine by train via the border with Poland. Many Africans thought of this and walked for hours in the freezing cold to have a chance at escaping. But what happened next will shock you. An African man named Inze gave a first-hand, real-time account of what he encountered at the border on Twitter. I'm going to read what he says happened next. Been at the Poland-Ukraine border for the past 5 hours, and they're segregating. Ukrainians, the other side, Africans and other foreigners on the other side. Like 100 Ukrainians first, then 2 Africans and other foreigners. Well, if their citizens leave, who will fight for them? We? Ukrainian army and police are threatening to harm us at Ukraine-Poland border. They refused to let Africans cross for 2 days. To put this into perspective, Poland announced that Ukrainians fleeing the war could bring their pets with them with no documents. No such provision was made for Africans. Essentially, they are saying that the life of a dog is more valuable than the life of an African. The treatment of Africans has been shocking. Africans not being allowed to leave left many people outraged around the world. Check out these tweets and I will come back with more information. So why are there so many Africans in Ukraine? It's a long way from the continent. Well, I'll tell you why. There are thousands of African students who go to Ukraine specifically to become doctors and engineers at an affordable price. It's often much cheaper to study and attend university in Ukraine than it would be to come to America or another country in Europe. Morocco, Nigeria, and Egypt are in the top 10 countries with students in Ukraine, sending over 16,000 students in total to the country. Africans are known to value education highly in their culture, especially Nigerians. But education in Ukraine has now come at a heavy price that many did not expect to pay. At this time, the various governments of the African students have not arranged a plan in order to evacuate them or get them to safety. So far, what we're hearing is that there are some African embassies who are basically communicating to their citizens to stay put and stay as safe as possible, but there are no actual plans to come and get them. For example, Nigerian student unions in Ukraine have tried to contact the Nigerian embassy in Kiev, but have not received a response. So there's not much help coming from the governments at this time because the situation has been so sudden. So what's my opinion on this? Well, first, of course, my thoughts are with everyone that's impacted by this. I hope they're able to get to safety and out of Ukraine. I've seen a lot of people coming together on Twitter to pool resources, share phone numbers, emails, locations where they can go to get help. And so, like any human being, I really do hope that they're able to be okay, especially the children, because it was absolutely heartbreaking to see a baby out in the cold with absolutely nothing that her mother could do to get her to safety. Beyond that, I think this opens the door for Africans to begin having a conversation about how far they're willing to go for a, quote, better life. And here's what I mean. Here in America, we often hear the story of the model minority. We hear the story of the Nigerian or the African person who has come to America and they are an engineer or they are a doctor because that's the only thing their family would accept, nothing less. They must be a doctor, they must be an engineer. But at what cost? Is it worth it to live in a place like Ukraine, which is cold and dark, with people that really don't look a whole lot like you, with people that, from what we're seeing from the videos, are actually quite hostile towards you and don't really want you there in their country particularly? Is it worth it to come from the tropical, bountiful lands that you're from to put yourself in that position all over a degree? Now, I value education very highly as well, and I think there are alternatives that African folks can begin to think of, especially working with their governments, because this endless flow of Africans into other countries that are hostile is dangerous, as we're seeing. Now it's time for you to get in the comments and tell me what you think. Do you think it's worth it for Africans to go to these war-torn, unstable countries in pursuit of education? Is the trade-off really worth it? Let me know in the comments below and I will catch you on the next video. Thank you for watching.